Chair, for yielding, and I rise, Madam Speaker, on this bill with great concern. I feel bringing a lot of passions to this debate because I lived in the barrios like the ones that children are coming from when I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Latin America. Very violent barrios. Look, this is not a border crisis. This is not a border security issue. This is a humanitarian crisis, and it's caused by problems on both sides of the border. Our country has a lot at fault here because we have not addressed comprehensive immigration reform, which means we have 11 million people living in the United States undocumented. They're essentially incarcerated in this country. They are not allowed to go home because the minute they go home and try to get back to the United States, they get arrested and they're not allowed to ever return, or barred for 10 years to return. So what happens? They've been living here for years and years. They have children that they left because there were job opportunities here. And those children are now living in places that are really dangerous. And all of a sudden, yeah, things have changed. They got to get out. These countries are ranked number 1, 4, and 5 of the highest murder rates in the world. They're leaving because there are real serious humanitarian crisis. And they're showing up on our border. And they're not sneaking across the border. There's nobody having to go out there and look for these kids trying to sneak in. They're throwing themselves. Help me find my relative, my dad, my parent, my mom in this country. And what does this bill do? It doesn't address the humanitarian problems at either end. It hires more cops and puts military in there, National Guardsmen. Now, if that's such a great idea, why is California, with probably the busiest border in the world with Mexico, not putting its National Guard down there? Our governors and our mayors don't think it's necessary. So why are we putting more money in for National Guard? We don't need National Guard. We need Red Cross. It's a humanitarian crisis. Red Cross. No, we're putting more money for arms and more money for military and cops. I don't think that's the right answer. We're also doing something really dumb. We're stripping a law now that says when we give money to these countries, by the way, before you spend this money on your cops and on your military, but you got to vet them. We have a human rights standard. This bill throws that out. You don't have to do that now. We're going to give you $40 million of American taxpayer money, and you don't have to do anything to abide by human rights. Now, that is really dumb. And I don't think American taxpayers want their money spent that way. You know, I'm going to call upon my colleagues here not to come down here and think of themselves in a partisan way or an election year way. Come to this floor when you have to vote on this bill and think of yourself as a parent, as a neighbor. A kid has knocked on your door. And you go there and say, oh, my God, he's crying or she's crying. And you say, what's happened? They said, my house, they're raping people and killing people, and I'm running away. This bill says, oh, what's your address? I'll take you home. Don't vote for it.
The gentleman's time has expired.